Ladies and gentlemen, it is crunch time. Your drafts are quickly approaching, and we are here to win you more championships. Welcome back to Three and Out. I am your host, Wayne Cavati, and joining me, as always, are two fantasy football dad legends, Mike the Professor Dutton and Chris Fanduel Fee Fiamano. Gents, we ready to get some drafting? Good, Fee. Let's talk about Rhode Island Fee today. Look at you all there. You're on the island. You got an anchor away behind you. What's going on up there?
Yeah, no, I'm here at the Rhode Island house, and yeah, we're just gonna do the podcast from here. It's gonna be nice and beachy.
Yeah, oh, Beachy Keen, Beachy Keen. Dutton, how's school going?
School's great. School's going well. Can't complain. Week 4, we're in it. Just so everybody knows out there, is Fee really in Rhode Island, or are we dropping Easter eggs?
Ah,
Thing on
nice.
podcasts these days. I don't know, people.
Well, Dutton, I hope you're ready to school our league next Sunday because our draft is coming up in 4 days. So hopefully none of them are watching this and knowing who we're going to pick.
Nobody knows anything. We're great.
Before we begin our show, I do want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Nicole. She's not only a new listener, but she's a new fantasy footballer. And I told her if she watches this week and this week only, we're going to win her. We're going to get her to the playoffs. I didn't guarantee a championship. I said we're going to get her to the playoffs. Fee, she is a fellow Giants fan. So
Nice.
let's make sure we focus on giving her something to be happy about this season because I know
Sure, sure. We can do that. Yeah. We
um,
can wallow in misery together.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Fee, a little segue. Speaking of Giants quarterbacks, before we get into our player rankings, I don't want to talk about current Giants quarterbacks. I want to go to Fee about his favorite player of all time, former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones, who was named the starter in Indy. And almost immediately, everyone's favorite Anthony Richardson demanded a trade. Fee, like I said, we're going to start with you. What do you make of both sides of this? What do you think about Daniel Jones starting, which is Dutton, what Dutton and I said 2 weeks ago, and we called him the comeback player of the year. What do you think about that? And what do you think about Anthony Richardson?
Sure. First of all, let's not get it twisted. Daniel Jones is not my favorite Giant ever.
I
Okay,
know.
that's just ridiculous.
Great
Okay.
intro.
I don't know where that whole thing came from. Secondly, um, I I'm kind of not surprised. I mean, Richardson has been hurt, especially even during the preseason here. He hasn't had a full complement of snaps of preseason games, and Daniel Jones has been fine, and he's been playing with the first team, so it kind of makes sense. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Daniel. Listen, Anthony Richardson is not good. Okay. He may be good for like fantasy purposes because he runs the ball so much, but he's not good. And so Daniel Jones beating him out doesn't really say a whole lot. Like he's not some sort of savior all of a sudden.
Right.
Okay. And I know that you guys think that Daniel Jones is the comeback player of the year. Okay. There, I would not be surprised if Anthony Richardson at some point becomes the starter of that team. Okay. I don't know when that'll happen. I think
Fair.
maybe they'll lose enough games where they're like, oh, maybe we need to turn to Anthony Richardson. Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows?
fair.
As far as the trade thing is concerned, I just read about that and I didn't really know about it until recently. Uh, I'm kind of shocked, I guess. I mean, because he was saying all the right things. He's like, yeah,
Right.
I'm going to work hard, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not a knock on how we've been working and all this other stuff, and that's fine. Listen, if Daniel Jones beat you out, then Daniel Jones beat you out. Like, why all of a sudden do you think that a trade is going to make you play somewhere?
And where's he going to
Because
start? Where's he going to
I,
start?
I don't know.
Right.
That's just it. So like he can request a trade, sure, fine, but they're not going to trade him. They have his control for what, another 3 more years, right?
That's the other great point.
So like he's not going anywhere. Give me a break.
Dutton.
It's all a plan for the Colts. 2026 is gonna start by February. Peyton Manning's gonna be a pretty big, chunky minority owner of the Colts, and in the draft in 2026, we're gonna hear with the first pick, the Indianapolis Colts select Arch Manning, Texas. It's all a plan. Daniel Jones is going to suck. They're going to be terrible. Don't be surprised if Jameis Winston is being the quarterback for the Colts at some point this year because they're going to go look right at that Giants quarterback room because there's a bunch of them sitting there. I'm telling you. And who's trading for Anthony Richardson? Like him asking for a trade, he might as well say, I'm asking to be out of the NFL, right? Because nobody's trading for him.
Look,
So, yeah.
In May 2024, here's what Anthony Richardson said. Remember, coming off his rookie year in which he played 3 games because he got hurt. But necessarily changing my play, he questioned. I don't think I'm going to change it. But being smart, knowing when to get extra yards, and knowing when to get down, I feel like I know how to do that. It's just that I have to do it, and I have to do it at the right time, I guess. I don't know if I'm going to change my game, but being smarter for the team, of course. So he didn't change his game. What happened last year, gentlemen? Right?
Got
How many
hurt.
games did he play? Did we remember?
Five,
11.
four, 11.
11. And in those 11 games, which is more than three, so you should have better stats. Did he have better stats? No. He went from throwing 58%. He completed 47.7% of his passes. When Colin Kaepernick was getting made fun of for being a running quarterback that had no accuracy, he was throwing the ball 13% better than Anthony Richardson, right? And Anthony Richardson did throw 8 touchdowns in 11 games. That I'm not good at math, but that's not even one a game. But the good news is he threw more than one interception a game because he threw 12 in 11 games. This is a guy that since the day he was drafted and he was a top 10, you
How
guys
many rushing
know.
touchdowns did he have?
I didn't even look
Oh,
because
okay.
he's a quarterback. Okay.
Right.
At
No,
no
I just
point.
wondering.
But since the day he was drafted, I was never on board. Last year, you guys had him in your top 10 fantasy quarterbacks preseason, and I just don't get it. It's because of the running, but he doesn't play smart. So my question is, Dutton, let's say you're a teacher. Let's say you're yelling at your kids every day, right? And the principal comes in the room. He's like, look, I need you to change up how you do things a little bit. All right. And you got, look, maybe I'll be smarter, but I ain't going to change. I'm not going to change. And then the next year, you yell at a kid, and the kid sues the school, and everybody's in trouble. Would you look at the workplace? The guy's not listening to what he has to do, and he's getting
It's,
worse
I
for
mean,
it.
but the problem is like this is exactly the problem that was predicted when he was drafted,
Right?
right? I mean, that's the thing is like none of this is a surprise.
But
Like,
it feels like it is to people, and I don't understand why.
yeah, that's the part I don't get because it's not a surprise because there was a huge upside to this man playing quarterback, right? There was a huge like, oh my gosh, the ceiling is unlimited if we can harness his potential and get him to be a better passer and his athletic ability. And then no, he just I don't know for sure. I'm not at practice, but it sounds like he just doesn't want to listen. It's
Yeah,
just what I'm gonna go with.
yeah, yeah. Moving on to stupid quarterbacks. Sorry, Dutton. We'll talk to you because I know you were. I think you were the highest on him in our rankings. Tyson Bagent just became the
Yeah, this is
seventh
weird.
highest paid backup in the NFL. 2 year, $10 million deal. So Dutton, what's it mean to you for Caleb Williams? Because I think obviously you didn't have Tyson Bagent rated higher than me and Fee, but you did have Caleb
All
Williams.
right, so here's my thought on it. I got two thoughts. One, I'm going to go positive and negative. So I'll give you the negative first. Obviously, the Bears are worried about Caleb Williams, and they have an insurance policy in case Caleb Williams goes south really fast. Okay, that's why they did it. Two, the flip side, the positive, maybe they saw that first drive in that game the other night against the Bills, where he went 6 for 7, was throwing darts. I mean, he looked amazing. And so maybe they're like, you know what? This team's really good. We got to have a backup quarterback just in case Caleb goes down. So maybe there's that side of it. That's what I'm going to go with. I don't know. But yeah, it's worrisome for people like me who had Caleb Williams ranked really high that they're investing so much in a backup quarterback. But I'm going to go on the positive side of it.
Fee?
Uh, yeah, I mean, the Bears, I feel like definitely might be slightly worried about Caleb Williams running the show there all season long. I don't know if they know something that we don't, if there's some sort of injury or something like that. But they obviously wanted a competent backup, and they didn't want him to get out anywhere else, so they, gave him a nice little bag for a backup quarterback, and that's solid. That's great for Tyson Bagent. And I mean, he's probably a serviceable backup, and with all the weapons they have on offense in Chicago, he probably could do very well. So it's probably behooves the Bears to do something like that. I don't think it's like earth-shattering, but they might be slightly worried about having Caleb being their starting quarterback.
So look, he went to Shepherd. He's D2 guy. He's been on my podcast. Like, you know that I'm always going to be a Tyson Bagent homer, but this is a brilliant move by him. He knows he's not ready to start in the NFL. So what's he going to do? He's going to sit there and learn from Ben Johnson's staff that just made the Lions the most unstoppable offense in football. This is a 2-year deal. He'll still be what, 26 when the deal's over? And he's definitely going to get some starts. Caleb Williams is going to get everyone gets banged around the NFL, so he's definitely going to get some starts. He's 2-2 as a starter. I'm not saying he lit the world on fire, but he can manage a football game. I think it's a brilliant move for him. And as far for Caleb Williams, I don't think it's too worrisome. But Bagent is the seventh highest paid backup, and minus Anthony Richardson, who's in there because his rookie deal was so high. He's above him, but the other guys are old hands, and coming in the training camp, they brought in Case Keenum, remember? And they said that he might be Bagent out. And I know Keenum got hurt, but like you said, Dutton, Bagent looked great the other night. So, like, he really earned this. And I think it's a brilliant move for him that I think is going to get him to be a starting quarterback in the NFL in 2 years. And I think Caleb Williams will still be as well, but I don't love him as much as you guys do. So that brings us to how much you guys love him. Let's get to our rankings. Here we go. This is arguably the most important episode that we do every year. We have gotten many thanks for helping people win their championships and also being high scorers, because 99% of the time on this podcast, I put the questions in our spreadsheet and Fee and Dutton answer them about 10 minutes before the show. But for this episode, we do take almost 2 weeks to put these rankings together. I get a head start on these, and we take a long time. We put actual thought in this show. So if you want to win your fantasy championship, stop what you're doing this second and listen up, because it is your 2025 fantasy football position by position top 10. What we're going to do is we're going to go around the quarterbacks, top 10 quarterbacks, top 10 running backs, top 10 wide receivers, and top 10 tight ends. If you guys want to talk a few defenses and kickers at the end, feel free. I'm not going to listen. But what I'll do is I'll read the consensus 3 and out from the 3 of ours, top 10 at each position. And then we'll kind of talk about things that, maybe you had someone higher or lower or in there or out there, and we could talk about it. So, of course, we start with the most important position in fantasy football, because you got to find, well, in real football too, you got to find your quarterback. All right, the 3 and out top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks for 2025 are Josh Allen, and then a tie at number 2 with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Coming in at number 4 is Jalen Hurts, followed by Bo Nix. Patrick Mahomes is at number 6, Brock Purdy number 7, Baker baby is at number 8, Caleb Williams at number 9, which I don't get, and then there was a tie at number 10 with Drake May and Justin Herbert.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you mention Jaden Daniels in there?
Oh, I skipped Jaden Daniels, who's actually, I'm sorry. Yes, he's after Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would make him number 4. Number 4. Sorry. So Allen, Burrow, Jackson, that's where Jaden Daniels is. Hurts, Nix, Mahomes, Purdy, Baker, Caleb, Tide, May, and Herbert. So Dutton, you had Caleb Williams at number 7. Fee, you had him at number 10. I didn't have him at all because I have Drake May over him. Who wants to start on Caleb Williams? Why do you have him in the top 10?
I'll go because I put him in instead of Brock Purdy.
Okay, because I want to talk about Brock Purdy.
Okay, so I don't know. I mean, the 49ers, they have an easy schedule. I didn't pay attention to that when I did my rankings. I don't know if it would change my rankings. It might a little bit, but I'm just worried. They have a really young team, and the window's closing, and it's like this much open left, right? I don't know. If you can't see it, it's not very much open. But so I left Brock Purdy out. I put Caleb Williams in there partly because they've put a lot of weapons around him. They're doing all the things, and he's got Ben Johnson. So if he can do it, he's going to be, I think, you know what I'm saying? If he can do it, I think he's going to be in the top 10 fantasy by the end of the year. I think it might be a slow start. So if you end up with Caleb Williams, I think you might have to be patient. the first couple of weeks, but towards the end of the year, I think you're really going to be loving it.
Fee, what do you think about Brock Purdy? Because you had him at number, what is that, 7. I had him
7.
at number 8.
I like Brock Purdy a lot this year. They just signed him to a massive contract. So he's all locked up for another 4 years or whatever it is. I know that there are a lot of injuries. I know they lost Deebo Samuels. Christian McCaffrey's back, supposedly not injured. Um, they still have Juwan Jennings. They still have Ricky Pearsall. They still have George Kittle. Yes, Ayuk is hurt and he's probably not going to start until like week 6 or something like that, or week 4 or week 6, something like that. But that's a big loss, as well as Debo. But Debo had been hurt for a long time. And listen, Brock Purdy has been an excellent fantasy quarterback over the last 2 years, even with all the injuries and everything that's been going on with San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan has been excellent for that offense and for fantasy owners, to be perfectly honest. And I think that Brock Purdy could give you a lot of fantasy points this year, in that 7 to 10 quarterback range.
Well, Fee, you probably didn't see it because you were on your drive up here, but the 49ers just traded for Sky Moore, who, of course, didn't light the world on fire in Kansas City, but there was a lot of helium when he came into the league. There was a lot of people liking him, and he was going to remember he had a kind of rough rookie year, and he was going to have the breakout sophomore year, and it just never came. And like you said, Kyle Shanahan's good at making people good. My thoughts on Brock Purdy are everyone has, if you look at sleeper lists, which we agree we don't talk about sleepers, but everyone has Ricky Pearsall as like a top 5 breakout sleeper star this year. Like you said, they have Juwan Jennings, and Ayuk is banged up, but he will be back. So you got 3 good wide receivers there. You got Christian McCaffrey, who they're saying is hurt, and everyone's high. I mean, not hurt anymore. I'm sorry. And everyone's really high on George Kittle this year. So if you have that many weapons, someone's got to give him the ball. And that means someone's going to be getting a lot of fantasy points. That's the only rational explanation to me. That's why I had to have Brock Purdy in the top 10. I'm going to tell you, I was surprised that I thought I was going to be the lone man with Burrow so high. So I was pleasantly surprised that you guys had him so high. Is it the wide receiver room? Is it that simple that Burrow is that high? Either one of you.
Yeah. I mean, so I have him at number 3. You guys both have him at number 2.
Yeah.
Which is just a slightly higher than I have him. But yeah, I mean, listen, Burrow doesn't have to run at all. He doesn't have to be one of those running quarterbacks because he's going to throw for over 4,000 yards and 30 to 40 touchdowns. Between Jamar Chase, who's very clearly the number 1 receiver, and T. Higgins, who's almost a top 10 guy. You have guys kind of, and then there you have role players like Yoshi Voss and someone else I can't remember, but they're going to lean heavily on that pass game. Now, they'll be able to run the ball, but it's going to be based off of that pass game. And that's why Chase Brown has been very high in the running back rankings. Not a top 10 guy, but he's been very, very high in the running back rankings because he's basically the only guy they got in the backfield. And that's great for him. And he'll catch balls out of the backfield too. So, between him and their receivers, Burrow's going to have a field day throwing the ball, probably 40, 50 times a game.
They got Noah Fant. So now you got Noah Fant and Mike Gesicki, and you got a couple guys backing them up too. They're deep at every position, and we're going to talk about Chase Brown here in a little bit. But to your point though, he can run, right? Like this is a guy that's put up about 200, 300 yards and like 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns in a season before. He doesn't have to. Last year he led the league in passing and passing touchdowns, and nothing changed. That's going to make that different this year.
Well, something changed.
What's that?
They're paying those wide receivers a lot more money, so they're going to have to use them.
Yeah.
And they're not paying any money for their defense, so they're going to have to score a lot of points. That's why Joe Burrow is my number 2. I almost had him at number 1.
I was pretty close too, Dunn. I really was. I was pretty close.
Yeah,
look at you guys.
I'm higher on Jaden Daniels. I actually have Lamar Jackson at number 4. I've already said I think Jaden Daniels may be NFL MVP this year. That's why. But and I don't want and obviously Lamar Jackson at number 4 is not me saying he's a bad quarterback by any means. I
No.
think that team's aging a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins is your number 1. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to be tougher for him to put up the crazy numbers that he put up the last 2 years. But he's still going to be the 4th best quarterback in my opinion. All right, so let's move on. Was there any other quarterbacks that you guys wanted to chat about that maybe
No.
we didn't talk about?
Well, there's two things. One of them is Lamar Jackson, but you just spoke about him. Just the fact that yes, his team is getting older, but I still think he's gonna have a great season running the ball between him and Derrick Henry and that RPO and everything else. He's going to be able to throw the ball, and I think he's going to have excellent stats. The other guy or there's two guys that I wanted to talk about. I'm not as high as on Jaden Daniels as you guys are. I think that he may fall off slightly this year from last year. So that's going to hurt him. Again, still a great quarterback, still probably going to be like top 5, but I just don't think he's as high as you guys have him. And then the other guy is Jalen Hurts. You guys, I have Jalen Hurts at 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys are, you have him at 5. Dutton's got him at 6. So you guys are a little less high on him. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have an excellent year. And
I
probably a top 4 quarterback.
I really think Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts are going to be separated by fractions of points, right? Like those 5 guys are pretty I don't want to say interchangeable because obviously, Josh Allen has been, God, I hate to say it, but he's been consistent fantasy point getter, so but they're going to be close in points. I like I said, like I don't feel uncomfortable putting Lamar Jackson at 4 because I don't think even if he finishes number 2, the difference between what he finishes number 2 over what Joe Burrow finishes at number 3 is not going to be too high. So that's kind of why I went with that, if that makes sense. I did like the Justin Herbert pick. Dutton, you had him in there. That's how he got into the top 10. I
I
think
just think that I think that he's in a system that is perfect for him. He's not going to throw a lot. He's not going to throw 50 times a game. He's not going to throw 40 times a game, but he's going to be accurate for the 25 passes he throws, and he's going to give you 250 yards and 2 touchdowns a game. And you're going to be mad about that every week from your quarterback? No.
yeah. Right.
Hey, Wayne, can you also just give me 60 seconds on Drake May? I want to hear your reasoning here.
Well, first of all, we've talked about that the for some reason the Patriots are kind of the I don't know, the feel good team. Like everyone thinks their 8 wins was their over and under after winning 3 or 4 last year. Um, Stephon Diggs is going to make that wide receiver. I know he might not play the first week or 2, but he's going to make the wide receiver room better. I think he has good weapons. He's mobile. Drake May, and he's not just, when I say he's mobile, he's not just a mobile guy that's going to run, which he is going to do, which is great. But he's a guy that can make things happen when he's moving, passing the ball too. And I think he's 1 year in the system. I think he showed a lot of signs of life with probably the worst team in the NFL. Like they were the worst offensive weapons he could possibly have. And he showed sign of life. They bulked up that running game. They're 3 deep in the running game. I mean, you still got Antonio Gibson that is very serviceable as a third down back if they need him. And I just think they're better. I think their coaching staff is better, and I think they're focused on making Drake May a top 10 guy.
Sure.
That's what I think. Why, you disagree completely?
No, not completely. I have Drake May pretty high, just not in my top 10. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. That's all.
Yeah. Dutton, and you had no UNC love for the guy?
I like him. I mean, he was probably top 12. Like in a 12-team league, he's going to be a number 1 quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
man. So, like, it wasn't that I didn't have, I think everything you said, Wayne, I agree with. I think he is nothing but upside this year. And if you're a keeper, dynasty league, whatever, draft Drake May this year, and then you're going to have him for a while.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be happy.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to running backs. So again, before we get into individuals, these are the consensus 3 and out top 10 running backs for 2025. Coming in at number 1, Bijan Robinson. Number 2, Jahmyr Gibbs. Number 3, Saquon Barkley. This one was a little crazy for me. Number 4, Devon Achane. Number 5, Derrick Henry. Number 6, Christian McCaffrey. Number 7, Ashton Genty. Number 8, Dutton. You're gonna like Bucky Irving right in there. Number 9, Jonathan Taylor, and number 10, Kyron Williams. I have Jahmyr Gibbs number 1, and you two don't. And real quickly, I'll tell you why. I don't think it's, again, this is like what we just talked about with the top 5 quarterbacks. Bijan, Saquon, and
Splitting hairs.
are going to be so close in points. But why do I have Gibbs number 1? If you look at the final 3 weeks of the season without David Montgomery, he ran for 365 yards. He had 14 receptions and 122 receiving yards with 6 touchdowns in 3 weeks. And then with Montgomery back against Washington in the playoffs, he still ran for 105 yards with 70 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. I don't want to hear anything about David Montgomery and Jimmy. The splitting. David Montgomery's great for what he's going to be needed for, but he's more of the Jerome Bettis now.
He's
right?
the gasser. He's like Jahmyr Gibbs is getting a drink of water on the sideline.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm telling you right now, I think he's the best running back in football this year. I do.
You might not be wrong. Especially because, let's be honest, we're putting a lot of stock value in the Falcons offense with Bijan Robinson as the number 1 running back. You know what I'm saying? Like
I think he's that good that it doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. That's good to know, but you don't think at some point they're gonna be like, all right, listen, we got to throw the ball. We're down 18 in the 4th quarter. Like, like...
Yeah, but he's we don't know what those quarterbacks, how far they could reach, and he's a great receiver out of the back.
That's true.
So that does help him.
That's true.
Fee, you got Saquon at number 2. Me and Dutton, it's not like we and Dutton are far off. We got him at number 3. But what do you think about Saquon? We already talked a little bit. You're not afraid of the 2,000-yard curse?
Yeah, I think too much is being made of all those curses, right? And yes, there's many. So like,
he's all of them. He's the man curse.
I know. You could take them all, and it's like a whole big list of why he's not going to be good. The problem is he's still one of, if not the best running back in the league on one of the best teams in the league, behind one of the best offensive lines in the league. So to have him any further past the second best running back for fantasy, I think probably is just kind of a little bit crazy. At 3 is fine. 3 is fine. Like you said, I think it's splitting hairs between Gibbs, Bijan, and Barkley. So you could take any one of those 3 and be fine with them. I just had Saquon at 2 because I still believe that he's still one of the best fantasy players in the NFL.
The next running back.
Can I tell you why I put him at 3?
Sure.
I'm worried about a pitch count.
I could see that.
I feel like the Eagles might be like, look, man, you're doing great, Saquon, but we need you in December and January. So, that's because I agree with you, Fee. He could go out there and he could rush for another 2,000 yards the way he looked last year. But I'm just worried the Eagles might be smart. And would anybody blame them if they're trying to win back-to-back Super Bowls? No. Like, hey, we don't need you to rush for 2,000 yards this year. We need you to rush for 1,400, but we also need you to decrease the amount of times you touch the ball. That's why I put him at 3.
The good news is if you're a fantasy Barkley owner, is that they went out and got A.J. Dillon as his backup. So that I don't know how much of a pitch count you can honestly put Saquon Barkley on.
Valid. It's a valid point there.
Well, isn't Will Shipley really his backup?
Yeah. But we don't know enough about him. He looked good.
Yeah,
but we don't know enough about him to be like he's a reliable backup. So the one we got to talk about is CMC. Fee and I have him. This is why I think it's funny. Fee and I have him at number 4. Dutton doesn't even have him as his top 10.
Told you I wasn't going near.
One of us are going to be right? He's either going to get completely hurt and be one of the worst running backs in fantasy, or he's going to be as healthy as everyone's saying he is, and he's going to be a top 5 running back.
I wish you two to be right if somebody drafts him out there, but I told you months ago, I told you a year ago, I would stay away from this man. I'm staying away from him. I don't trust his Achilles. I don't trust his ankle. I don't trust anything.
It's all fair. It's all fair to not. He is arguably the most untrustable player in fantasy football, right? I don't know that there's anyone that you could trust less than Christian McCaffrey, but the upside.
For sure. For sure.
I mean, we're talking about a guy that was the best running back in fantasy football, what, 2, 3 years in a row, right? Like the guy's just a machine. And
And let's be fair, because of his injuries, he doesn't have a lot of tread on. He still has a lot of tread on his tire.
right. Because even though he's pushing 30, like
He's missed a bunch
like,
of seasons, so he hasn't carried the ball as many
it
times.
was like Adrian Peterson, remember? Because he had
Right.
to sit out the year, and then he
Yep.
had the Achilles, and and he was able to run till he was like 32 because he wasn't really 30 in football years. It's like dog years and such.
Right. We'll see. We'll see. I just don't trust him, so I couldn't put him in there.
Okay, so here's a couple running backs I want to really talk about. Oh, Dutton, let me ask you about Achan, however you say his name. Is this more hopeful since he's our keeper that you have him at number 4? Because I
Well-
pray you're right that he's number 4.
Okay. Well, first of all, to be fair, I did my rankings early, and then A-Chain got hurt.
Well,
So
yeah, but they said
is-
he's going to be ready. I think this is all
Right.
Yeah, that's precautionary.
Right. So here's the other reason why. I just look at the Dolphins and I'm literally getting like 2009 Jets vibes, like just a dumpster fire. And like at the end of the season, the only player left is going to be A-Chain, right? It's literally going to be some guy we've never heard of turning and just handing the ball and A-Chain just running because Tyreek Hill will be off the team because he'll probably throw a fit in the locker room and quit at some point after week 3. And, McDaniel's going to be fired by week 5 and Tua will have a concussion in week 4. Like, I'm just telling you. So A-Chain's their only hope. That's what I'm looking at. That's why it's there.
Oh, he's our keeper. Well, don't forget they have the 5th highest paid backup in Zach Wilson now. Can you
Yeah, I
believe
mean,
Zach
so why
Wilson is
wouldn't
in
we
it?
think this is 2009 Jets vibes?
Right, even more caution the wind on any Dolphins right there. Okay, so now I want to talk about 2 guys that just missed that get kind of the tie vote, and that was Chase Brown and Josh Jacobs. Fee, we didn't have them in our top 10, right? You didn't. I know they're not mine. Fee, you don't have them in yours. Dutton, you
Nope.
had both in your top 10, which is
They're-
why
they're
they received votes. My
9 and
question
10.
is this. I want to start here for both of you. Dutton, you have him as number 9, so I'll start with you. Why is Chase Brown so high? Why is his ADP almost 2 rounds ahead of Chuba Hubbard? And my question why is because I admit Brown is a better receiver, but Chuba has done the same thing 2 years in a row, right? Chase Brown basically had a good half a season, and I get it. Like at the end when he came on and he was good, but we're putting a guy in the top 10 that had a good half a season. Like,
So when I put both these guys, I can talk about them both because it's the same reason. I looked not just at who they were as the individual player and their, potential, but also the offenses that they're playing for. And I can't, like, those offenses are good. Like the Packers offense is going to be good. The Bengals offense is going to be probably top 5, maybe top 3 in the league, right? So like to not have Chase Brown in the top 10 of running backs with an offense that's I couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to put
I
them
like
in.
that. I could get down with that. Fee, do you have any thoughts on Chase Brown you'd like to share, or I could give you the next question?
Well, I do like Chase Brown. I think he's probably in that 12, 13 range. He's
Yeah.
going to be a starter on someone's fantasy team. He's right up there. I just didn't have him in my top 10. I just felt like there were guys that are going to be better than him this year. And that's why I didn't have him in my top 10. That's all.
Look, I just think to be a top 10 fantasy football running back, right? Like we've done this for 28, 29 years now. If you're in the top 10 running back, like you're like on a Hall of Fame trajectory to me, like, right? Like to be a top 10 fantasy football running back is a big, big deal. It's the most important position in fantasy football. And so like Chase Brown, like I don't know. I do agree. I agree with everything you're saying that he's in an offense that you got, but we're not talking Marshall Faulk here. That
No,
same
you're
kind of
not wrong.
offense,
But
you know?
it's also a different NFL, right? So if you're good enough on a really good offense, then your fantasy numbers are gonna blow, they're gonna be inflated. And Chase Brown's, Fiumano, you're probably right. He's probably a 13 or 14
Yeah, I'm
running
at
back.
15. I mean,
But
so and not
because
far
of the
off.
offense he's on. But then again, I didn't put Kyron Williams in the top 10 because I'm worried about Matthew Stafford's back messing up that entire Rams offense.
So also it has a lot to do with value, right? So taking Chase Brown at that, 11, 10, 11, 12 range, you're not getting much value there. Like
Right.
if you were to able to get him in like the late third, fourth round, then sure, that would be fantastic. But the problem is that he's not going there.
He's going
People are
like
taking
mid-second round.
way, way sooner than that.
Yeah,
And there's just no value there.
I agree. I agree. Fee, I honestly think this guy's going to be break the top 10 by the end of the year, and I had him in there until I switched it up with Kyron Williams. But Omarion Hampton over there in Los Angeles, what do you guys think about him? I honestly, I do. I think he's going to be a top 10 running back by the end of the year.
I like Amari Hampton a lot. I like what I had seen out of him early on in the preseason. The problem is that J.K. Dobbins is there too, and he seems to be healthy,
Yeah.
and he also looks very good, right? So there's just too much question mark as far as RBBC, running back by committee. Are they going to split carries? Like, how's that whole thing going to work out? And that's just what scares me about Amarian Hampton. I think he's going to be a fantastic running back. I think he's going to be great. I don't know where he's going to end up fantasy wise, and that's why I don't have him in my top 10.
Fair, fair. Dutton, you were shaking your head.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I mean, look who his coach is, right? His coach is Mr. Pound the ball down your throat. And like I just think that once Harbaugh realizes that this guy is literally 3 yards in a cloud of dust every time he touches the ball, and every once in a while he's gonna bust a big one, I'm gonna get 3 yards of carry from this dude. So let's do it.
There's one more thing that I completely forgot to mention. Rashawn Slater, who's the
Yeah.
all-world
Yeah,
offensive
he's
tackle,
out. That is true.
is out for the season.
Out for the
Yeah,
season.
that is big. That's a good point.
Done.
Valid
So they
point.
just lost their best offensive tackle.
Right.
And
Yeah, but his
I
own
feel like that's a big
teammates,
loss.
his own teammates were saying they're like they don't want to tackle him because that's how like he's
Right.
just a machine. This guy, like his own teammates are like, we're not getting hurt. Um, so we're gonna move on to. Were there any other running backs that you thought I felt slighted? I mean, I think we covered everyone that we had.
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna move on to wide receivers, and wide receivers we could usually zip through because this I feel like every year we're pretty much all there's like one guy that we're just like, and it's probably number 11 on all of them. So the 3 and out consensus top wide receivers for fantasy football in 2025 are, no surprise here, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, CD Lamb, Puka Nakua at number 4, Malik Neighbors at number 5, Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 6, Drake London at number 7, Brian Thomas Jr. at number 8, Nico Collins at number 9, AJ Brown at number 10, and then the two guys that were under consideration because they got some votes here are T. Higgins and Lad McConkey. Fee, I'm gonna give you a question here because I want to see what you're gonna say. We have Malik Neighbors at number 5. You had him at number 4. I had him at number 5. Dutton had that at number 7. So he's up there. Is it true or false, Fee? Malik Neighbors could potentially be wide fantasy football wide receiver 1 by the season's end.
I'm gonna say false.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about wide receiver 1. I don't know that he ends up being better than Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb. That's why I have him at number 4. I think he absolutely 100% could be better than all the rest of those guys that I have underneath him. That's why I have him at 4. I think that he's going to be really good. The amount of volume that he gets and the I want to say like the sentiment that's going around about the Giants offense right now, which to me is kind of ridiculous a little bit. I think people are getting a little bit out of hand with it. Oh, they look so good. It's great.
Yeah.
I think it's a little out of hand,
The
but at the
Jameis
same
effect,
time,
and he brings happiness.
no, I know. And listen, there's a lot of great things to talk about, but I don't know that it's necessarily there yet. I think that offensive line is still a little bit of a problem. But the volume alone that he's going to command, as long as he's been having these little nagging injuries in the
Yeah.
preseason, and he hasn't even played, which is good. They're resting him, and that's fantastic. As long as they don't creep up on him during the year, I think that he'll be a top four wide receiver.
Dutton, you were saying true?
I say true. And Fee debated his own argument because he said it, the volume. Because if you're in a league that gets 1 point per reception, this dude's going to have 15 receptions a game. There's 15 points right there. Without any yards or any touchdowns, you have 15 points. I'm telling you, mark it down, 15 receptions a game, because who else they throwing the ball to? And they have to throw him the ball.
Wan'Dale Robinson's going to get a lot of targets too. I like him this year, but I think he can. I'm going to tell you why. The dude played 15 games last year and he only started 13. Remember, he started with things and injuries and everything too, so he didn't even play a full season. He only started those 13 games. He still had 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns with Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy Gabagool and Tim Boyle. And now he has 3 quarterbacks that are all better than the 4 guys I just said. Right? Like even
Didn't he have
Jackson,
like 120 catches or something?
it was
Yeah, it was ridiculous. That's what I'm saying.
and that's what I'm saying. If he's healthy for the season, even if he misses a game, he's going to crush these numbers with an absurd amount of receptions. I don't think it's going to be 15 a game. I'm still a big. I love Darius Slate, and I think Wan'Dale Robinson is a good guy.
All right, so he has 9 receptions a game.
He is. I think he's going to get 12 targets a game. I just don't think he's going to catch them all. Yeah, I really think Malik Neighbors could finish number 1. Really, there's not much debate here. I didn't have AJ Brown in my top 10 because he's my number 11 because someone said it before, but T Higgins, I know he's the number 2, but he's a number 1 on 30 other teams in the NFL. Like he really is. So that's my thinking. But AJ Brown is like he's number 11. Dutton, you had Lad McConkey in there. Any thoughts to share on that?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, right? Like it's a new system. Pete Carroll, we gotta fire the cannons, even though it's the Raiders, they're still pirates. And let's let Gino rip it, right? So see what happens. And I don't know. I think he's also a volume guy. I don't think he's
Hey,
the
Lad
Malik.
McConkey. Lad McConkey's on the
Yeah,
Chargers.
Chargers.
Chargers. Sorry, yeah, that's what I meant. I have Justin Herbert as my number 8.
Right. Okay.
Right?
And that makes sense.
Justin Herbert as my number 8. Who's Justin Herbert throwing the ball to? Right? McConkey.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was confused for a second. Yeah, like I don't know.
That makes
he
sense.
was one like
You have him as a top 10 quarterback. His number 1 weapon has to be a top 10 receiver. I'm on board.
Right. Yep.
No Nico
I was
Collins.
talking about the Raiders. Sorry.
No Nico Collins though. You're getting ready for tight ends. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, sorry. No Nico Collins, and it's no hate against Nico Collins. He was like number 12 probably. Like I mean, I'm a little worried about CJ. Last year, I'm a little gun shy. Last year made me nervous. So.
Yeah, that's fair to be nervous, especially behind a completely new offensive line replacing a completely bad offensive line.
Right.
Like there's no guarantees this is a better line by any means. Fee, anything else you want to add on the wide receiver front? Like I said, that's pretty much where we usually are straightforward. So let's move on to tight ends. The 3 and out 2025 fantasy football top 10 tight ends there were no brainers on the first 2 picks. It goes number 1, Brock Bowers, number 2, Trey McBride. George Kittle is at number 3. There's a tie for the number 4 spot with Sam Laporta and Travis Kelce. Evan Ingram came in at number 7. TJ Hawkinson at number 8. David Njoku at number... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm off. Go back. Evan Ingram was number 6. TJ Hawkinson was number 7. Njoku was number 8. Mark Andrews came in at number 9. And Tyler Warren, the rookie, came in at number 10. Let's talk about who we have before we talk about who we don't have. Dutton, you went with Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren, who is the rookie Fee and I went with. And Dutton, you went with Colston Loveland. What was the love for Land? What was the love for Loveland over Warren?
It has to go with my hope and feelings that Caleb Williams is going to have a good year, similar to my Justin Herbert, Lad McConkey. Colston Loveland. I don't know. He looked awesome the other night in that one
Yeah.
series. I mean, so maybe I'm onto something there. But yeah, I just think he's a big target. I think Caleb's going to learn this year to get rid of the ball faster because I've heard enough. I think we all have that a lot of the sacks last year were on him, not so much the offensive line. So
Yeah.
what better than a tight end that's open that can catch the ball with a big radius? So yeah, I think he's a good fit for the Bears and with Caleb there.
But wasn't Cole Kmet that? I mean, Cole Kmet's a good tight end.
Yeah, but he's got some, wear on his tires and
Oh yeah. No, I'm just saying for last year, like he had the tight end. It wasn't like he didn't have a
he
tight end.
did. But I also think that's why last year was a big learning experience, right? With, Ben Johnson in the film room be like, Caleb, Cole's open. Caleb, Cole was open. You got sacked, so now it's like, hey, Colston's open and you got two tight ends, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
So if you have Colson Loveland in there because you believe that he's going to have a top 10 quarterback throwing to him, we got to talk about how you have David Njoku at number 4 when he may have arguably the worst quarterback room in the history of the NFL throwing to him. How do you? I have him at number 10, and I almost didn't have him at number 10 because I actually almost went with Loveland right there.
He's a target on a team that needs a target. That's how.
But what if they can't reach him? Look, Joe Flacco's the starter.
Joe Flacco's going to reach him, so don't worry about that.
Fee, you have Njoku at number, what is that? 7.
7.
What do you think 4 is absurdly high?
Yes, I do. Listen, I think Njoku is going to have a pretty good year. And just the way the tight ends pretty much always are, it's tough to find decent ones.
Yeah.
And I think Njoku is a decent one. I just don't know that he's a top 4 tight end. Just like you said, Cleveland's offense I think is projected to have the least scored points in the league this year. So that could be a problem. But also, they're going to need to throw
he
to
scores
someone,
them all.
and so Njoku should get a lot of targets. So, I mean, they may be short targets, but, you never know.
Yeah. If they win a game, they're idiots. Dutton, you had Tucker Kraft. Fee and I did not. Is it just the Packers offense? What do you like there?
It's the Packers offense.
I think there's too many mouths to feed for him to be a top 10.
Yeah, I'm worried about that. I'll be honest with you. That is a worry because all you hear about right now is the Packers receiver room, and oh my God, the Packers receiver room, and Matthew Golden and Aaron Rodgers.
They don't have an alpha dog. So when you already have 3, 4
right
serviceable
but here's my Tucker Kraft love is that I just think Jordan needs to find that, like you were just saying, they don't have the alpha dog, so Jordan needs to find that who is my 3rd and 6, I need 8 yards.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Tucker Kraft this year because he doesn't drop the ball at all. And let's be honest, the Packers led the league in drops last year. So, that's why. But we'll see. I mean, tight end, really, let's be honest. After like 6, tight end is really a crapshoot. I mean, it's, I put Travis Kelce in the top 10 only because I watched the Taylor Swift podcast with him. And she talked him up. So I was like, well, she's pretty smart. I'm going to buy into it that he's jumping faster and running higher or whatever. Or the other way around, running faster and jumping higher. So
he had a lot of
he was going to be out of the top 10.
He had a lot of drops last year. He wasn't getting separation. If he's coming back, you have to assume that he's working on it. And he still gets a ton of targets, man. I still think he puts up enough numbers to be a top.
Years he have left on his contract?
It's got to be
2.
Oh, is it 2? I was going to say.
I think it's
because I just have a feeling that this might be his last year, and he's going to make it like he's just gonna put it all out there and like give it everything he's got.
Well, let's be honest, he has to. His girlfriend was doing a worldwide tour and making an album at the same time that we find out, right? So he's got a lot of pressure in that house. Like, oh shit, I got to get my act together here.
I love the Taylor Swift angle.
Right? Seriously though,
Dutton, the one guy I noticed you didn't have on there, and then I'll go to Fee because you do have him on there, and so do I, higher than both of you. You don't have Mark Andrews. You've completely lost faith in Mark Andrews?
I think Mark Andrews is in his head. I think that game against the Bills in the playoffs, I mean, the dude had 2 big drops. And like
he was hurt all year though, dude. I mean, from training camp to the end.
He was. You're right. You are right about that.
I admit I had him on, was it our fantasy team? I had him on one of my teams. and it was a nightmare. You're like, what
It
are you
was.
doing, dude? It's a nightmare.
And I think that's part of it too, Wayne, is I had when I was making this list, a little bit of bias against Mark Andrews because I dealt with him on my team last year. And it was just so frustrating because you would sit him and he'd have a touchdown and 86 yards. And then you'd play him the next week and he'd have no catches and 0 targets.
Right. No, yeah, there was one week he had no targets. Mark Andrews. That's like,
Yeah.
it's like Travis Kelce without a target, and
Right.
like not a target.
Right.
I do remember that. Fee, what do you like about Andrews?
Well, so like you said, he was hurt from the beginning of the year, and he was hurt all season long, and I think that affected them and him a lot.
Mhm.
Now Isaiah Likely is hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they don't have any other tight ends. And supposedly Mark Andrews should be healthy now, to start this year. And like you said earlier, DeAndre Hopkins is their number one.
Yeah, and Zay Flowers. I mean,
Zay Flowers, fine. So who else are they throwing to?
right.
Yeah, okay, Zay Flowers, maybe Bateman, maybe DeAndre Hopkins, a little here, a little there. But Mark Andrews has to command a lot of that too, I think, as long as he's healthy. I think that he's going to want to have a comeback year, especially the way last year went, being hurt and all. If he's healthy, I think that he has a comeback year, and plays like the Mark Andrews that we know that he can be.
That's why I have him at number 7. He's their best he's their best receiver, I think. If he's healthy. If he's healthy. If he's not healthy, then I agree. He's not even top 10. Fee, why'd you go Warren over Loveland? Since we asked Dutton why he went Loveland over Warren.
Yeah, I just think that
Daniel Jones, say it.
what?
Daniel Jones, say it.
It's because of Daniel Jones. No, it's not. I just think that Tyler Warren, I think to start the year should be is the better tight end over Loveland, right? There's a lot of competition in Chicago for targets, a lot, and not so much in Indianapolis, right? And so I think that that certainly helps him a lot, and I just think that he's just as good, if not better, tight end than Loveland is.
And didn't Josh Downs get hurt?
He is banged up.
Yeah, was it bad?
But I think
right
no,
now.
I don't think it was anything
okay.
serious.
Yeah, because that would even open it up for more.
I'm not entirely sure about that, but I don't know.
Two top guys from last year, Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth, did not make our top 10 this year. Obviously, they're teammates now, but to have not one of them in the top 10, I thought was a little weird. Who wants to
It's
start?
an easy answer.
What's the answer?
Just who's their quarterback?
Yeah. Fine.
He hates tight ends.
Fair. Is that why you don't have one of them?
No.
Or do you just think together?
Who, Freiermuth or
and Jonnu, now that they're on the same
team? Jonnu Smith. Yeah. So they're right. Aren't they both on the Steelers?
Yeah. And so Aaron Rodgers hates tight ends.
Right. So all of that, right? So they're fighting each other for competition. Aaron Rodgers hates tight ends. I know Jonnu Smith had a fantastic year last year. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to replicate that.
And how come nobody's worried about George Kittle breaking again? Doesn't this guy, he's up there with the injury bug?
He gets hurt.
As much as Christian McCaffrey.
He does get hurt.
That's why I don't mind getting him if he falls to me, but I hate going high on George Kittle because I feel like that's the year that he gets hurt. Where we got to talk about an old show favorite that became the most hated man on the show. Where do we have Kyle Pitts this year?
Oh God.
Such an enigma, that dude.
Listen, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Or no, show me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
Fool me 3 times, and I don't even know what the hell you're gonna. I mean,
you're out. Here's the thing with Kyle Pitts. There's going to be a week where we have a lot of Kyle Pitts highlights.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many of those weeks we have.
Fair. Fair.
I love how like in the beginning of the preseason, like the very first week of
Yeah, it was
preseason,
all Kyle Pitts all the time.
Penix came on the the interview, and he's like, oh, Kyle Pitts, you see him out there? We're gonna get him the ball a lot this year.
Focusing him on the yeah.
Okay, sure, whatever you say, bud.
Oh man. So that covers tight ends. Gentlemen, was there anyone that we did not talk about that you think our listeners should know about, or any other snubs that we didn't mention? I think we covered it. I mean, that was
I think right now the most
550.
important thing for our listeners is to pay attention to the injuries as the preseason wraps up this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people have already done drafts. I don't know how they do drafts so early. Blows my mind. Blows
Yeah.
my mind.
Well, the Scott Fish Bowl's in the first week of July.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
I already have 2 guys that are hurt.
Right. Like that's the thing. Like, you don't even get to enjoy them.
Well, we will be seeing you next week, probably from the mountaintops in Red Rocks. We're gonna try
On location.
We're gonna try to do an on location where we're not sitting in 3 boxes and we're sitting next to each other. If we can make it work, we're gonna try our best. And then, of course, the week after that, we have our draft that Sunday, and then the week after that will be the first official show of the actual fantasy football season with our much anticipated and long awaited season preview, which I can always get excited about. Gentlemen, anything else for our listeners before we go?
Enjoy the rest of the summer.
All right,
We
we'll
got a
see you
couple
from
weeks
Denver.
left.